Hey guys, Rip Dragoon here, bringing you a domination game on Nuketown with an Olympia. And yeah, I was just messing around a little bit this game. You know, I never actually used shotguns, so I was just having a little bit of fun. I actually die a lot at the beginning of this game, and I end up coming back. I was just, I kept like just getting the gayest deaths. Like I'd get random naded, and some guy would fucking be sitting in a corner, and then you get the drift. But anyway, so I wanted to tell you, I think I'll have time to tell you both these stories because they're both related to the same two people, or actually, sorry, one's related, they both have one of the same people in them, and I will withhold her name just because I promised I would never let these out. I actually have, I'll explain it later in the story, but I have like dirt on these people, I guess you could say. And I'm not the kind of person who's gonna go and post this shit like on the internet, and so I'm just not gonna name any names. You know, it stays in my personal collection, I guess. And you may call me a fucking freak after you hear these stories because I do have these videos. But so basically, what happened was. What happened first was we were in North Carolina, pretty much just squatting at this house for a few days. And, you know, this was when I was living a carefree lifestyle on the road for months at a time, never checking in or anything, you know, just being a hoss in general. And we were up in North Carolina, I believe it was Marble, North Carolina. And we were at this kid's house, and he is a magnificent artist. Like, this guy that we were staying with was fucking, like, just an awesome artist. He had artwork all over his little barn because he lived in a barn on his dad's property, and his dad used to be a roadie with the Grateful Dead. And so it was just really interesting artwork and shit, but that's really not the point of the story. So basically what happened was I don't drink, and that's not because, I mean, I went through the drinking phase just like everybody else in high school, but I don't drink just out of personal preference. And so what had happened was they had gotten a bottle of, like, it was, I think, a half-gallon of fucking some really cheap shit, like Mr. Boston or some shit, of vodka. And they had taped it up with duct tape so nobody knew how much was, like, inside if they looked at it. And I mean, of course, they could, like, shake it and feel it and whatnot. But I was up there with, once again, all my greatest stories involved the kid that shall not be named because he's a fucking douchebag and he's not my friend anymore. But we were up there with him, and so the guy whose house we were staying at, you know, challenged my other friend to a drink-off, where basically they just upturned this duct tape bottle of vodka, and, you know, whoever could drink the most. So, you know, my friend, you know, was like, well, you go first. And he told the artist guy that, you know, you go ahead and go first, and whatever. And so, and oh my god, it's so hard to tell this story. But so he just upturns this bottle, and I swear to God, drinks, like, because it was almost all the way full. He drinks like half of the half-gallon, like, right off the bat. And he's so drunk at this point already, just off of the first drink, that the other guy doesn't even drink anything. Like, we're all just sitting there just laughing. Like, and then it turned serious because there was like this old, like, brick fireplace, not brick fireplace, sorry, stove fireplace, like wood stove fireplace, and we were, and there was a bunch of broken glass beside it because, you know, everybody in the house would get really fucked up and just break bottles on the fucking bricks beside this wood stove fireplace. And so, you know, he gets really drunk, and immediately he just stands up. You know, he totally forgets that they were having a drinking game in the first place. Just stands up and falls into this pile of glass and just starts rolling around, and we're just sitting there staring like, what the fuck? You know, we're really worried because, you know, he's starting to bleed and shit. And he's just sitting there laughing, just like, I swear to God, he's like a 2-year-old fucking giggling, rolling around in this glass. Well, anyway, there was a girl there named, well, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to tell her name, that was pretty close. But there was a girl there, and she was in a wheelchair. She used to be a cheerleader. She's actually really hot. but you know, she is quadriplegic. She does not have the use of her legs anymore, and so you know, she was there, and she's also a slut. I will just openly say that she will fuck anything that moves, and she will open her legs for anyone, even though technically you would have to open her legs for her. That's a really shitty joke, I'm sorry. But it's true. And by the way, I won't have time for the second story, which involves her as well. But I'll tell that another time. And so, you know, he's sitting there fucking just rolling around in this glass, just laughing. She's been drunk all day. Like, they've both been drinking since noon. But, you know, he had just drank a half of a half gallon. I guess it would be a fourth of a, I'm tired. But, so, you know, like, they're sitting there, and then all of a sudden he just walks up to her, you know, because she's pretty hot and whatnot. He just walks up to her and is like, hey, you want to drink my blood? And I swear to God, the first response out of her mouth was, sure. And so she just starts drinking his blood, just fucking, like, puts the cut up to her mouth and just starts fucking drinking it. Okay, and, you know, just sucking on this cut, it was really fucked up. And so, you know, all of a sudden, like, because they're both really fucked up at this point, and she's just laughing, they're having a grand time, and fucking, he's like, I want to suck your blood. So he goes and grabs a knife, and the whole time I'm filming this, by the way, and some of you will call me really fucked up, but when shit like that goes down, and everybody's really drunk, there's really not much that you can do to stop it, so you might as well film it. So, that was my mindset on it. So he goes and grabs a knife and cuts her fucking arm open, and fucking starts, they just start drinking each other's blood, and he's like sitting on her lap, and this fucking really podunk overalls just drinking each other's blood, right? And the video's almost over, so I gotta make this fast. But, so he ends up, because he just keeps cutting himself on his arm so she can drink his blood while he's drinking hers, blah, 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 etc., etc. And he cuts too deep into his arm. And this kid is still underage. He's like 18. I'm the only one there of age, even though I did not actually buy the alcohol. And so, you know, I rush him to the hospital, and I'm not drinking. So I rush him to the hospital, and they sew it all up, and he's fucking just, the whole time that they're sewing him up, he's making fun of the doctor that's fucking helping him and shit. But it was just a really fucked up thing to see. And anyway, Rip Dragoon out.